Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will present about contribution of Khalifah Umar Al-Khattab. Our group members are Mashita binti Adam, Asira binti Azamhari, Umi Kalsum binti Mazuki, and Nur Asmidar binti Asmadi.
Introduction of Khalifah Umar Al-Khattab. Umar bin Al-Khattab bin Nufa'il bin Abdul Uzza bin Rabah bin Abdullah bin Qard bin Razah bin Adi bin Ka'ab is the real name of Sayyidina Umar Al-Khattab. He comes from Arab Quraysh, descent from the Bani Adi tribe. This great Amir al-Mu'minin died as a result of being killed by his enemy, Abu Lu'lu'ah, the servant of Al-Mughirah bin Shu'bah, when he was 63 years old and managed to rule for 10 years and 6 months.
Next, we move to economic contribution of Khalifah Umar Al-Khattab. First, we look into land management. Umar took a bold step, like abolishing the land ownership rights of the landlords who were not natives of the area and changing all forms of the land system in the Islamic Caliphate. Secondly, limited the area of land given, which namely according to the needs of a given person and his abilities. And lastly, Sayyidina Umar will also take back the land that was given if it was neglected by the recipient or was unable to manage it. Second, zakat. The purpose of giving zakat is to promote Islam and increase Muslim citizens when needed. During the time of Khalifah Umar, Islam was victorious and the number of Muslims was already abundant, so that the distribution of shares to converts was unnecessary and even an insult. Ushur is something that is taken by officers of the state are prepared to trade possessions while traversing the area of Islam. In the present ushur known by the term customs. Sayyidina Umar implemented the system for non-Muslim traders who entered the Islamic Empire. Basically, in Muslim countries at the time, all the non-Muslims have the same rights and opportunities with other Muslim residents in the running of economic activity. Jizya is a tax that replaces military duties and the wages of those who replace those duties. The amount of jizya payment was changed during the Caliphate of Umar by raising it to 1 dinar more than what had been done since the time of the Prophet. In further development, Umar changed the amount of jizya to 4 dinars for the rich, 2 dinars for the middle class, and 1 dinar for the poor. Next, Kharaj or land tax is a type of tax levied on land owned by non-Muslims. More specifically, it means a tax paid for land ownership as opposed to a jizya. This provision remains in force even if the latter embraced the natives had to pay a certain amount of tax, which is kharaj, for the harvest they produce to the Muslim treasury. This provision remains in force even if they later embraced Islam. And lastly, Baitul Mal. Sayyidina Umar improves agency to organize the state budget during his reign, which is called the Baitul Mal, that body or financial institution that manage the state, ranging from collecting, picking, develop and maintain up to distribute. Sayyidina Umar maintains Baitul Mal carefully, receive an income and something lawful and distribute it to those who deserve it according to the Sharia rules. In addition to the Baitul Mal, Umar also used Hisbah as a market controller. The role of Hisbah in economic activity as an institution that has the authority to check the size of the dose and the quantity of a commodity. It also checks for the quality of the products, and Sayyidina Umar also monitors supply and production of goods and service. And lastly, he oversees monopolistic practice, fraud and deception.
Now, we move to politics contribution of Khalifah Umar Al-Khattab. Firstly is Islamic territorial division. Khalifah Umar has divided the Islamic region into several parts to facilitate administration. He also created the position of Amir or governor in each colony. Khalifa Amir appointed officers, secretaries and heads of department for each colony. Every appointed governor must make an agreement that is cannot ride fancy horses, cannot wear expensive clothes, cannot eat sifted flour, and promise to always open the door for the people. Appointed officials will be checked on property and personality to avoid abuse of power. Next is forming the Shura Council. Khalifah Umar Al-Khattab has formed a Shura Council, which is the highest consultative body or council. It is divided into two, the Supreme Shura Council and the General Shura Council. All matters involving the country's politicians, security and social problems will be discussed together in the ceremony. The Shura Council is also responsible for determining national policy in matters of internal governance and external relations. The third one is reform the land administration law. The expansion of Islamic power required Khalifah Umar al-Khattab to reform the land system in Egypt, Syria and Iraq for example. Public lands become government land and the proceeds are used as state funding. The army of all Muslims are no longer allowed to take land from the colony except through purchase. Land was taxed and no longer expropriated. The last one is establishment of a new department. The establishment of new departments where each region has important departments such as the military secretary department, taxation department, police department, and national treasury department and Qadi department. The criminal investigation department was established to control members of the public administration and the military who committed irregularities. In connection with that, several important positions have been created to lead those departments. Each department is headed by a secretary or khatib and is paid a monthly salary.
Net social contribution of Khalifa Umar al-Khattab. Firstly, Khalifa Umar al-Khattab upgraded the position of the slave by giving them the rights they deserve. Khalifa Umar al-Khattab will act against officials who do not respect and care for the welfare of slaves. For example, Khalifa Umar al-Khattab once fired an officer who failing to visit a sick employee. Slaves were given the right to social interest and good status at the time. Khalifa Umar al-Khattab carried out scientific and educational activities by building schools and mosques. He has made several efforts to advance Quranic study. He trains teachers to teach a variety of science-related subjects and he must be dispatched everywhere for those who are paid well. Schools were established in mosques to teach Muslim students throughout the Islamic region. Muslims are required to memorize certain surah in the Quran to explain the main principles of Islamic teaching such as Surah Al-Baqarah, An-Nisa, Al-Ma'idah and so on. He also raised the number of mosques that were designated as centers for studying religion and the Quran. Last but not least, Khalifa Umar al-Khattab strengthening the military system by establishing a military department by building military centers in major cities such as Medina, Kufa and Basra. He also created a standing army and a volunteer army. Every soldier who served the country will be paid which they have a record as Muslim soldiers. Next, Khalifa Umar al-Khattab established self-defense and military exercise for the army and built security forts as a security measure in maintaining the peace and security of the country.
As a conclusion, based on the development and contribution that has been given by Khalifah Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab, we can conclude that he is indeed a leader who has a far-sighted view. Contribution and developments that have been introduced by him, such as the prison system, judicial institution, and Baitul Mal still remain and implemented until now.
That's all from us. Thank you.